Ever thought to yourself, selling and closing is just hard? Ugh, I get it. But now let's do this and let's develop some sales appeal. Because right now I'm going to share with you one key thing, not all key things, but one key thing that will help you instantly battle this mental knot. Now, if you haven't gone down there and hit the subscribe button or that notification bell so that you can get notified every single time we post a new video on how to develop your sales appeal to make you more magnetic and have that gravitational pull, then go ahead, take care of that right now. We certainly appreciate you for that. Now, I've used these methods to do business with celebrities, Hollywood and managers, speak on over 300 stages around the country, cold call into Fortune 100, 500, and 1,000 companies successfully and do business with them, and even be mentored and led by top sales titans, business titans from around the world. And I'm so excited that I can come in here and share this with you as well. Now let's jump right into it because this is where the meat gets meatier. And I know I said, hey, have you ever thought to yourself, is selling and closing hard? Well, let me share something with you real quick. Now, I want you to think about the old ATM where you go to, in most cases, nowadays, you can put money into it, right? You can deposit money. Most people are depositing money, but maybe back when it first came out, the ATM was already preloaded with a bunch of stacks, with racks and stacks, as they would say, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know how much that thing can hold, but nonetheless, the ATM has a well, right? It has something that it can dispense to you to be able to pull out so that you can withdraw. Now, in life, now moving forward, it's been facts that people go in there, they make their deposit. So now it's got a little bit of an exchange. There's a constant exchange, right? So imagine that nobody ever put anything into the ATM so that it can dispense something out in the future, and there was no transferring of money. Eventually the well would what? It would just dry up, and if nobody replenished it, then there would be nothing for it. And I use this short little example because in life, why selling and closing is hard for most people, as I've experienced it, is because too many people are trying to do for others what they have not done unto themselves. Now, like, whoa, Manny, whoa, wait a second. So what do I mean by that? So in selling and closing, you really have to understand a person's mental space, their emotions, their position in their business or for their company, right? You're not necessarily just dealing with a person in their physical space, you're dealing with all of the intangibles as well. So if you're trying to get somebody to have a mental transformation during a presentation or during a phone call or at the follow-up stage or in an email, but you've not done any of these things for yourself, and you've not gone through the process of working and really tidying up these things, then it's going to be astronomically difficult for anyone to set themselves up to connect and to communicate and to convert someone into becoming a customer. So one would leave and say, oh, this is so difficult, and this is so hard. Why can't I do this? Well, it's because in most cases, we haven't invested the time necessary to go to our own well and really tap that source to figure out, hey, who am I, right? Do I have the internal resources to overcome my own emotions? Do I have the social intelligence to have that fair exchange during a conversation to get somebody to say, hey, I like that person. I like that guy or that gal. Have we gone through the actual work of shedding some of our old so that we can continue to become more of the new? And oftentimes in the world of selling and closing, you're dealing with elements that have to be tried and practiced over a long period of time. And even then, in some cases, if you don't do it actively enough, consistently, then you're already falling behind the curve. So then you got to get back in, you got to start practicing it some more. But what would it be if I was having a conversation with you from this position and I hadn't gone through all these things? It would have a different texture. it would have a different feel. And you might be thinking, man, this guy, I ain't sure yet. I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. But it's all good. That doesn't mean that you can't step up into that and you can't become that. And so sometimes it's necessary to, yes, you have to play the game. And this is where it gets a bit tricky, right? You can, and I've heard this a million times. People will say, fake it till you make it. There is a degree of that, right? There is an element of having a certain level of confidence to go out and do things when your environment is telling you the complete opposite. Hey, like, don't even go there. You're not ready. You're not capable. You've never done this before. And that's having a level of courage. And I understand that, and I encourage that. Let me give you a perfect example of this real quick, because I think this is a real testament to it, where it's like the opposite of what we're talking about, but it's so helpful to understand in context because of its value. Now, the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. Will Smith was a man of assurance in his mind that he could get the job done, and he had strong reasons to practice and to study and to put himself in position to demonstrate his abilities to earn a position. At the same time, Will Smith was fighting the good fight. He was homeless. He was sleeping in poor people houses. He was sleeping in the subways and locked bathrooms. He had no money. The IRS was after him. But he didn't let that affect how he showed up every day and his application and the exercise of what those things were to keep filling up his well and filling up his insides so that he can continue to march forward, even though life was throwing every adversity at him at every given moment. So while it's important to understand that, yes, there's going to be times where you might have to subtly step up to a situation where you're not ready for it. Okay. And you might not have those resources yet, but you're using every ounce of energy you have with the right intent that you possibly could. That could benefit you. But in the situations where, if you're finding yourself looking at things as difficult, I would ask you to take a step back, evaluate the landscape, and really look at, hey, does this part of me work for myself first? Have I got through some of these obstacles in my own life? Am I capable of having the conversation with these people yet that I want to? And is there a disparity between why I'm not closing a $100,000 deal and completely coming up empty-handed every time? You have to ask yourself these types of questions and figure out if this is something that, in fact, you are filling up your well with. Now, if you're liking this, by the way, head down there, hit that like button for us. Share this. It's always a blessing. If you're also finding it interesting enough, I'm curious to know what you do in times like this, where you're having a struggle and you're supposed to step up. Do you retract, or do you man or woman up to the point where you're like, you know what? I've got some other willpower inside me. I'm going to do it. And I'm very curious about how you approach that. Go ahead, leave me a comment below. Love to see how that works. And obviously all of us can benefit from that. So that's always amazing. So remember what I said at the beginning of this. This is not about selling and closing being hard. It's about, in most cases, we've been too hard on ourselves because we haven't allowed ourselves the time and the space, and certainly the time, to evolve into the individual that is in position or capable of doing what is required to be very proficient at selling and closing, so that you're dynamic in the environment and with the skill set completely and radically changes itself 100 times over. All right. So just want to give you a high five there. It's very important to know and be hyper aware that if something's difficult or challenging to you, go back inward, ask yourself, hey, have I filled myself up in this area? Have I filled myself up in this area? Have I filled myself up in this area? And if the answer is no, go back to work and start making it happen. All right. Y'all have a great day with my high fives. I take care. You appreciate yourself. I just said that backwards. I said, take care and I appreciate you, because sometimes my dyslexia fires out and that's how it works. But anyway, I love you all. Take care. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.